Oh, it's recording. Take two! Hey everyone! I'm 12 Warthog Game here. I'm back with another video, and today, welcome to my strategy guide series where I show you strategies on how to beat certain games and on like specific maps and whatnot. And today, we are playing some Risk Factions. Now, I'm going to show you a strategy I've learned how to beat on Proving Grounds. It is a map that can be played up to 3 players, I think. 2, 3, and possibly 4. I'm not so sure about 4. And we'll get right into it. First thing you need to know is know your objectives and what what objectives and where to get them. This is for conquest mode only, because War Room is really objective based and holding down your capital. So most of these for Risk Factions, when I do them on certain maps, will be for conquest mode, and all territories will be manually picked, so I can show you what I mean. Now, of course, control 4 barracks. Control 3 out of 4, you get the missile in the lake, and that gives you extra attack type bonus. Control garrison, which you can do, but we're probably not going to get that, as that place is kind of harder to defend. And I'll show you what the easiest places to defend, what the least likely places you want to have to defend, and so forth. Now, you have outpost. If you control outpost, which, of course, garrison, outpost are continents that you can control and get bonuses just like in the regular one. Now, starting maneuver. You get a maneuver, extra maneuver at the beginning of your turn. It's like having your maneuver phase. It's like having a maneuver phase, but before you attack, but after your drafting phase. And of course, we got take over 7 territories in 1 turn. You get an extra attack die. 2 extra if you complete 2 continents. Now, one of these seems more likely is that we could get 2 continents. Possibly, or 4 barracks is going to be hard for everyone to do, because they need to control all 4, and there's a total of 4 on the map. They're all spread out, so it's going to be kind of hard. Maybe someone, most likely, will probably get garrison or outpost, but not us. You don't have to get all of the objectives in order to get it. Now, if I go here, hit close, I'm going first, of course. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. The one that they say control outpost is this one. It has the largest continent, but only gives you 3. Now, garrison's about, in terms of territory, if you look at it, outpost has 9. This one has 4. So, this one has less than half. Garrison has less than half of outpost, but it only gives you 2. And you can be attacked from 3 different places in garrison, but you only have 2 borders that you need to protect. Now, of course, I could do that, but I prefer Blackfort as it has 5 territories. But if you can put all your troops right here in Rottendale, and you can literally set that up as a wall of defenses as you have other troops, as you have all these other territories, and Blackfort that can only have 1 troop because they cannot be attacked because of the mountain here. It also lends you control of a barracks, which will prevent your opponents from also getting the control for barracks objective. Now, I'm going to start by getting this because that territory is probably going to be picked most, and you want to get as many territories as you can in Blackfort. Of course, they're going to probably pick 1 at the end to prevent you from starting out with a full capital. Now, of course, you do want to note that you could get other territories such as Warpaw. If you do that, you have 3 territories that are bordered that can be attacked, and only 1 territory that would not be a border if you were to fully control that. That would be hard to control early game, as there are 3 different ways that you can be attacked, as I mentioned before, and not to mention that it only gives you 1 bonus troop for that continent, unlike Blackfort, which will give you 2. Now, of course, headquarters, I guess, is fine, as there's 5, but there's like 3 as well, but there's an extra territory. And the way it's set up is you just put 2 here, 1 here, and then you just have 2 territories that can't be attacked, which is, I guess, is kind of good. It's like Warpaw, but you have an extra one, and you have a barracks and headquarters, but you do not in Warpaw. So, objectively, I would be better off having headquarters, as it has more territories and a barracks compared to Warpaw as well. Now, trying to control the full thing of outposts, that's like 9 territories, and you have to stretch that. And if you're trying to take that over, you're gonna have you're gonna have to split off troops equally into two territories. That way you can have them evenly defended. But you don't want to spread out your army too much, because that is a bad idea. For an example, in history, the Battle of the Three Emperors, or Battle of Marengo as some people call it, was a battle that took place in the Napoleonic Wars. There's many different names for this battle, but one of them is where several armies, two armies opposed Napoleon and his army, and the Russian army alone was much bigger than Napoleon's army, and they had support from from another country that was allied with them at the time. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but you want to know what the interesting thing is? Napoleon retreated from the high ground on a hill, let them take the hill, and he recaptured it, and still won, and beaten them. Now, the main reason for this is the two best tactics that you're going to need to know if you want to be good at this is blitzkrieg and the Napoleon tactic of outnumbering at the point of attack. Napoleon used this strategy. Where you attack is where you want to outnumber them. If you're using 7 troops to attack 2 of their troops, you outnumber. You have more power at that point when you are attacking, and you have chances of winning. Even if they have 30 troops in total and you only have a total of like 10, if you're attacking a territory that has 2 troops and you have 7, you're going to get that territory. Because they may have 30 troops, but they may not all be in one territory. It may be spread out. You need to spread it out to protect your borders, and only protect your borders that you have, but you don't need to protect every single territory that you have if it's not a border. So, for example, we got Bad Valley, Hollow Hill, and Burden are 3 territories that I have that are not border territories. These 3 here, as you can see, are not needing any defenses whatsoever, so I'm not going to put them there because they can't be attacked at the current moment. If this territory were to be attacked, I would have to defend Burden and Pillus territory as well. Now, of course, you can always check your information here, and you should do this frequently, although it does show you this information at the end of each round of turns. Now, for me, I pretty much got this, and I'm going to get 2 extra bonus ones. Now, if I can pick all of my territories or get as many and garrison, that'd be fine. And I can try and hold down both of them, but that's going to be highly unlikely and very hard to do. I'm probably going to make use of the territories in that territory just to get troops for my drafting phase, but I may not even be able to fully defend it. And if that's the case, I do not mind. Although, I will take out the remaining red territory for the sole purpose of getting the garrison bonus. Which, if we double check, control garrison, we get an airfield, and I could probably use that on my next turn. So I'd probably pick a card, then get it on my next turn. Although, someone else could control garrison as well. I have to control garrison at the current time that I want to redeem that. So I can control garrison, get the airfield, and I could lose garrison, full control of it, and still have that bonus, provided that the territory that they attacked did not have the airfield, as airfield is Scorched Earth. Now, if you don't know what Scorched Earth is going to be a tactic where, as you retreat from a territory or losing battle, you destroy stuff in your path as you're retreating. Anything that could be useful to people. It was used by the Russians when the French during the Napoleonic Wars tried to invade them, as they kept retreating because they knew Napoleon's strategies would outsmart them and they would get their butts kicked. So they decided to outsmart him and not fight him, but weaken his army because he knew he could not send a supply line all the way to Russia from France, and they trained their troops to live off the land. When they go raid a place, they find a farm to take all the crops from there. They can eat that so that they don't have to buy it themselves or worry about a supply line and relying on a supply line to give them food and whatnot. But there weren't any around because all of them were dead. All the farm animals were dead, and they took the meat from them. All that stuff. That's why it didn't work. Now, on the other hand, that is why you will lose your, that is why you lose your airfield, as you see it as something too valuable and you don't want your enemies to carry it, and that's why you do it. Now, I'd like to mention that usually when a computer player, I'm playing this offline, that way I can sort of direct where the battle is going for the sake of explaining things, and plus no one was online anyway. Play this. Usually when a computer player puts a lot of troops in one territory, such as Command 6-4 is doing it above my border, and I'm consistently arming, it is more likely going to be their capital, and they'll usually go to drastic measures, try and stretch out their army, just so they can try and reach the territory and take it over to get their capital back. Because I've noticed computer players will play as if they're in war room mode when it's world domination, which in war room mode, if you're not familiar, which I don't play that much, which is actually played usually on in custom games, online and offline, or in the campaign, where you have to complete 3 objectives and still hold your capital at the end. Not an enemy capital. Unless an enemy capital is an objective, then you have to redeem your reward for the objectives, and then that's yours, and then you can lose it if you want. But you have to have at least 4. At least 4. At least 4 of those. At least like 3 objectives, and the 4th objective pretty much being holding your own capital. Now, of course, I get to go first, and without a doubt, you guys probably already know what I'm going to do if you were paying attention earlier, or know what I'm about to do. But I'm going to place my capital there, because it's farthest away from any other territories and they cannot attack me. Now, if I'm right, as I predicted, Commandant 6-4 would place their capital right where I predicted they would be, right where they're putting all their troops. Now, of course, I do now outnumber them. Although, numbers are sort of close, and if I attack them, I could weaken this, but this one's still strong, and they could attack this. So if I attack this to reduce the amount of troops that they have there, I can do that and then withdraw all my troops back into this territory, which I'm going to do. But first, I want control garrison for the sake of the objective. But I also have complete 2 continents. And I'd rather have... And that's going to be a difficult one. Now, of course, I can maneuver and whatnot, but I'm going to do this next turn. So what I'm going to do is control garrison. And I also got to make sure that, that I do this. Now, I do realize I did do this because I wanted to control garrison without even realizing something, and sometimes people miss stuff, and I made a mistake, and now I'm going to have to try and rectify it. But I do notice zombies own all of headquarters. They could take their 8 troops and possibly move into garrison if they wanted. Try and get me out of there and complete 2 continents of their own. But seeing as they only attacked 1 robot territory and they did not attack us, that might make the robots want to attack them back. And of course, they're probably going to go for garrison, as I predicted. For that barracks, I said one of them was going to go for us, so it's good. And they're not doing what they should have done. They are spreading out their army too much. I could easily take over their capital now, and still have their capital and my defensive border for Black Fort still be defendable. And you want to know what? They gave me the opportunity to do this. And I'm gonna take it. Okay, as you guys know, there. I now have 2 territories defended. I could maneuver, but I don't want to. I could have gone here, taken that out, and got garrison, but I don't think I could have when I have that low amount of troops. Maybe if I had a few more. But I really got to protect my home area. even though that I have an airfield there. Plus, from the looks of it, I think that, depending upon which way they attack, or how much trouble they have attacking, they may not be able to get full control of Garrison for the owning 2 continents bonus. But I guess they do. There was a small chance that they couldn't have, but they're probably going to take that over the card. Now they get 2 extra troops each drafting phase. Now I'm going to pause. And I'm going to talk about something. Drafting phase. I'm going to do a quick rundown on how that works. You get +1 troop for every capital you have, including your own. You get +1 troop for every 3 territories you have. In this regard, cities with territories with the city count as 2 territories towards total number of territories in terms of getting 1 troop for every 3 territories. That includes territories that are frozen, and this is usually calculated after your turn starts, but before any bonuses or bonus moves are taken, such as freezing territories with crypts or converting territories with the Vaughn's Temple. As you can see here, Command 6-4 took over 1 territory and headquarters because he didn't like the fact that the zombies had two full territories. Now, of course, you know what I mean by that, as you guys can see here. That I do not have the most amount of territories. As a matter of fact, I have the least amount, but as far in terms of numbers, I have the biggest army on the field. Now I'm going to finish this attack. Now I'm going to go and attack again. And I'm going to even out my defenses. I'm going to finish, and then I'm going to get a star. Eventually, all these stars are going to add up. I got 2 this time, so I'm lucky. At 9. I'm now not the lowest amount. But I have my territory so well defended that they would need to spend like 2 turns worth of territories just to amass something that would even come close to defeating one of my 2 border territories. And when that happens, that can be a good thing. That could also be a bad thing. Because if they spend that time doing that, they're not spending time defending borders from their other enemy, and this pretty much just leaves the red, or the robots, and the zombies to fight each other to the death. Colonel von Stauffenberg's going to try and beat the crap out of them, and Command 6-4 is going to try and beat the crap out of the other guys, and because they don't want to attack me. Why? Because I have 15 troops on my borders, and they can't really do much about that. Now, of course, I'm going to more heavily target, in this instance, the zombies, because they have the lead. I'm also going to take away one of their barracks, so that they can't make use of holding down a barracks as a bonus. I'm also going to take this from them. Okay. We got 8 here, 8 there, and we got 15 here. I think we're doing fine so far. I'm going to grab another star. Just let them pile up. Now I got 11. I'm slowly gaining a few territories each turn, but I'm not spreading out my armies. And even though that I may have started out in a position where I didn't have, for a few turns in, not have the most amount of territories, I'm slowly getting territories, but at a rate where I know, at a slow rate, and I know I can do where to go and what to do. Just charge in so fast and spread out your army, you're going to have like up to like 3 armies per territory. And if someone has like 20 in one territory, they can easily take over that territory. So it's not just about where... It's about where you place them, not just about numbers as well. Now of course the zombies have more territory, so the smart thing would be to target them so that they wouldn't have this. But the only problem is that I can't do that because the only attackable people at the moment are pretty much the robots. So okay, now I'm gonna go take over this territory. Leave that there. And I'm gonna maneuver. And I'm gonna put a bunch of troops there. Now I'm tied with the zombies for most amount of territories. Now, the reason I didn't take out any more territories, and I probably could have, is that I didn't want to spread out my army too much. In the regards that I would, right now, it's up until this point, I've been attacking in certain ways so where I only had to defend 2 territories. But now I have to defend 3. And that's going to be a little bit more challenging. See how it goes. I attack here. I go up here. They just have 1 troop there. Wow. And that took a beating. I'm gonna bring some more troops up here. And the reason I'm doing more up here, up there, rather than down there, is because I actually have... They actually have to go through a robot territory to get to me. And that's going to be kind of hard, because once they take that over, they've lost casualties from battles, and they're not at full strength, which they originally started out with more numbers than me. Now, of course, they only have 1 border well defended, but I don't want to launch an all-out offensive. But what I am going to do is make use of the starting maneuver that I got last turn, and I'm going to show you exactly how that works. Okay, so, step by step, I'm going to put all my troops here. Wanna know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to take all these troops here. Now, of course, I know that's going to leave that territory undefended, but we can always maneuver troops back. Remember what I said about outnumbering at the point of attack? We're going to take over this. And we now should have 3 barracks. 3 out of 4. We never lost control of one of our barracks in Blackford, so that means no one could have ever gotten the, control all 4 barracks. Now I can go here. I'm gonna go down here. I now have control of garrison again. Maneuver. Okay. Got a good maneuver. We got a border protected. And not only that, but you want to know what? They're going to put they're going to put a lot of their troops near their capital. And I was right. It's only 2 away. The reason they did that is because I pose a threat to their capital. And if I take that out, I'm going to leave my borders to garrison open. And they're going to take that opportunity to come in there, grab that barracks away from me. That way I don't have control of the missile. And that's going to be a problem for me. But you want to know what? I'm not going to make them worry about that. Because I got another thing up here where I can take out the rest of headquarters. Now, the way I'm going to do it is really relies on you knowing what you want to do and then making maneuvers afterwards. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a 2-pronged attack. This is the bigger group of the troops. So this one's going to be taking out 3 out of 2 of them. 3 out of 5. And then the other 2 are going to be left for the smaller group to take out. Although the bigger group will step in and take out the remaining 2 if the smaller one fails. But We outnumber them in total of 11 armies to 2. And the reason I said 11 instead of 12 because there's 12 in that territory, but we have to leave one behind to occupy that said territory. Now I'm going to fast battle. Apparently I zoomed in on it. And I move in. Then what I can do is move the 18 troops above my current location selected into here. Now, not only do they have to worry about their capital being under threat of being taken over, or they also have to worry about it being about Warpaw being attacked from the top, and I can come down that way and get them as well. So now, not only are they, so they have to worry about where I'm going to attack next. They don't know. They just have to pick and choose. Now, of course, they put more there and they outnumber us, but my army is big enough that it's going to whittle them down, even if it's just a little. And I got it down to the point where they have to back off now. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all my troops here. And you're probably wondering why I'm not putting them down here in Airedale, but you want to know what? I don't need to. I can outnumber and take them all out now, and I don't need to worry about arming that area. Now if it comes to the point where I can't attack any further, of course I would just take them and maneuver them there. Now take note that I've been maneuvering troops, but the way I pick my territories is I try to keep them as close together as possible to make, like, not have a few over there, and not have my territories separated, because as long as they're connected, you can move troops to each other. Of course, now I'm going to attack them. Finish attack, and now I'm going to take them out. And there you go. Tactical victory on Proving Grounds on Risk Factions. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, leaving any comments, questions, or feedback for me in the comment section down below would be highly appreciated. If you want me to do one on a specific map in Risk Factions, please let me know in the comment section down below as well, because that would be cool. Because eventually I'm going to do all of them, but if you have a preference as to which maps you want to see done first, let me know. That'd be extremely helpful to me and for you, I guess. Anyway, see you guys later.